just totally blanked on letting you know that I was running a little over schedule, so that's my bad. Okay,
Oh, you're good.
let me check your format here. So I mean, obviously, I'm a little bit aware of this question because I did speak with you before you ordered the session. But regardless, what got you interested in coaching?
So I am at a kind of crossroads.
Sure.
It's right now the way that I'm approaching Overwatch is I have a job that fuels my ability to get better at the game because ultimately what I want is to be as good at this game as I
Right,
possibly can be.
right. Okay.
So coaching allows me to put resources into that um, to get to the point where hopefully I can quit my job and make Overwatch my income.
Okay. Sounds good. So it gives you enough opportunity to actually take a hobby pretty seriously.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. So you have pretty lofty goals, to say the least. Okay, then let's keep going then. So break me down your history of Overwatch. How long have you been playing? What heroes have you mained? What ranks have you hit in Overwatch 1 and 2? Fill me in.
So I started season 14. That was like the first season I played comp. I played on a ultra book, got like 10 frames per second, and I finally got a like actual computer when I started playing comp, and then I was like 600 SR in season 14.
Yep. Okay.
Work stayed there for a long time, and until like my mechanics started getting better. I think season 24, I started playing ball, and I just dedicated myself to getting really good at that hero. I got up to plat that season I climbed to silver and I got to plat. Um, and then I stayed at around 25 to 2600 for like 4 or 5 seasons until I joined a team. And then I was the sub main tank for a team, and I did not want to be like I wanted to be the sub for that team because it was a team that was higher than my current level of play.
Right.
But I did not want to be the sub for that team, so I like was really ignited and I really like put everything into being good enough to not be the sub. And I kind of got there.
What do you mean kind of?
Well, there was me and the other guy have talked about it, and it like we both agree that it didn't really come down to who was playing better. It was kind of just like we got equal time no matter what.
Got it.
But I was able to climb from plat to about mid diamond on while I was on that team in that span of 3 months.
Was that the motivation for you to climb, or was just the climbing a happenstance of you just playing more?
Both. All of my peaks have come when someone that I know has gotten a higher rank than me. Well,
That's hilarious.
most of them, I like when Overwatch 2 came out, I had never hit master in Overwatch 1, and like what the main tank for that team hit master like the first couple weeks of Overwatch 2, and I was like, well, that's unacceptable. And I hit master about 2 weeks later.
Okay.
So yeah, like seeing peers do better than me is definitely a big like motivation.
Sure. Why do you think that is? Is it just I don't want to be the worst kid in the lobby, or what?
I just have to be the best.
Okay.
Like it's different when like Super's better than me because Super is Super, and I know
Why
that's
is it
like
different?
exact. So like I know that that's not the most logical way to think about things, and I think it's partially subconscious because in my head I know that Super is a person like anybody else. I know that I am a person like anybody else.
I know where you're going with this, and I totally agree. But Super is magical. He's not a real person somehow in your brain. Yeah, I get that. Okay, sorry, keep going. I assume that's what you're saying. I don't want to put words in your
Yeah, exactly. That
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I've done a good job of deconstructing that like thought process.
Yeah.
But I still think it's partially there because like when I'm starting to get to the point where I'm getting in these streamer games
Yeah.
and like it like it's like, oh, I'm like in a game with J3. What is this?
He's real
So like
now.
yeah, he's real now, and like I'm kind of like trying to deconstruct that.
Yeah. I noticed this as well. It's like for me, it's like I'm on the old man when it comes to Overwatch, so I can't play it seriously. So it's like I just play ranked. I one trick a hero to learn it better how to coach it. And recently it's been like Ramatra, Orisa, then Mei, then recently it's been Brig, you know? And they're not even heroes I particularly enjoy, I just want to understand them better. But the problem is then when I start to get pretty good at these heroes, right? And I'm like getting into like, you know, I'm like getting high diamond, I'm like masters, and I'm getting like these GM lobbies. All of a sudden I start caring a little bit. I'm like, stop caring. I'm like, man, I'm losing. I should be, nope, stop. It's like, it starts getting to be where it comes like this, the social pressure of winning becomes too important. It's like, okay. So Overwatch 2, where are you at right now?
Right now I am Master 2.
Okay, Master 2. So you've grown. Okay. Let's keep going with this then. So your goal is Overwatch GOAT short-term GM1. Okay, sounds good. So I want to delve a little bit deeper into your motivational issues. And they are issues, respectfully, because it's a slippery slope. So let me break you down the problem here. And you're probably aware of this, but you want to be as internally motivated as you possibly can. And the reason for that is because external motivation is not something that you can rely on. And also external motivation is a real quick way to burn you out, because I think burnout happens when there's a gap between expectations and drive. So for you might have really high expectations for yourself because now you're getting in streamer games. Maybe your peers are now like GM1, or you're scrimmaging with somebody who's GM, or your buddy got GM3, or you're on a team and everybody's like the average. But your internal motivation / how much you enjoy the game / how much you just really want to get better at the game doesn't match that. And so then you try and push yourself to match your expectations, and then you get burned out. That is something that's very dear to me, because that was my Overwatch League experience, where I wanted to get Overwatch League. That was my expectations for myself. And honestly, I had the skill for it, right? But I wasn't willing to make some of the sacrifices with living time, living situation, payment. I have a mortgage, right? Overwatch League pay is horrible for coaches. It's terrible. So I had a realization that if I'm going to force myself to be an Overwatch League coach, I'm not going to be a happy person at all. I'm going to be constantly and chronically burned out. So then I pulled the plug. So for you, the reason why I'm concerned about this external motivation is not because external motivation is necessarily bad. It just has a tendency to push you outside of your comfort zone. And it also has a tendency to lie to you, because it tells you that you want to be the Overwatch GOAT. But if I'm being honest with you, do you really want to be the Overwatch GOAT? Or do you just want to be the Overwatch GOAT because you want to be the best within your lobby? Do you see what I'm saying? What's really motivating you here?
Definitely want to be the best. So like the other thing that definitely drives me with this, I haven't figured out like, so like there's like a logical drive, and then there's like a in practice drive, I guess, if that makes sense. Like when I logically think through the things, like to me it's very important to I want to use this as an opportunity to learn how to learn better. The skills that I want to get out of this are primarily the skills that will apply to other places if the Overwatch dev team decides to just delete the game tomorrow.
Right.
Like, so there is that, and then like I do have a very like, I want to be the best at something, because like we all only have like 80 years. So like if I'm not the best at something, I'm not it's hard to put it into words, but like I just have to be the best at something while I'm here.
Sure. You're a very competitive person.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. Do you love Overwatch?
Yes.
Okay. Because that's the number one thing. When people talk about like being the best at anything, if you don't love what you're doing, you're not going to be able to be the best at it without, again, being a miserable person. So, okay. As long as you can say that, as long as you can say, I want to be the best because I really enjoy putting in that many hours into the game and taking it that seriously, then you're good to go. Because everyone talks about the drive, right? Well, the reason you get the drive to work hard when you really want something, not just through like personal discipline. Like, for example, why are you a bodybuilder?
No.
Why not? Are you lazy? What's wrong with you?
No.
What's wrong with you? Why are you that lazy? Why don't you get up every morning at 5:30 and work out for 2 hours? What's wrong with you? You're a lazy person, aren't you? You don't want to be the best. You don't have what it takes, right? Do you see the flaw with that logic, right?
Yes.
It's just something that you just don't care that much about that, and there's nothing wrong with that. So for you, it's like, as long as Overwatch isn't that for you, there's nothing inherently virtuous about dominating at anything. And in fact, a lot of the goats of different passions were not very happy people, and generally not even very good people either. So I'm not discouraging you from being the goat. I don't think that you have to be an unpleasant or miserable person to be the goat. But just know that being the goat isn't a great goal in of itself, if I'm perfectly honest with you. And I say this as a very competitive person who has been very good at many different things, if I do say so myself. So I will caution you before I fuel you with what you're aiming for. Sound good?
All right. Yeah.
Okay. Let's keep going. So you want to be the GOAT, GM1. Let's just set up at GM1. If we can get you to GM1 and you're still having fun with the game, then we can consider the GOAT. Okay. What's your training schedule looking like right now? How often do you play ranked? Do you have a team? Do you scrimmage? Do you have a warm up routine? Do you take any days off? Do you have days where you play more, play less?
So I scrim with my team. It's some close friends of mine, and it's a couple close friends of mine on a team, and we scrim Monday, Thursday, Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I play a lot of ranked. I actually have considered pulling back the hours because I think the quality of the hours would be better. And then recently I've implemented 30 minutes of mechanical drills a day, shatter blocking, ball movement, stuff like that.
Okay. So give me exact details. How much ranked? So I didn't hear. How often do you scrimmage with your teammates?
About 3 times a week.
Okay, that's good. Get a little bit of team play in there. It's not a ton. Okay, and then how much ranked do you play per day?
Ranked per day, I believe the season has. I usually do at least a placement or two a day.
Okay, so probably, if we're being honest with ourselves here, about 4 hours per day, 3-4 hours per day.
At least, yeah.
Okay, at least per day, 3-4 hours per day. Yeah, I mean, you've definitely hit the soft ceiling of quality, right? You've probably have you heard me talk about quality and quantity with ranked training?
No, but I know that I was reading like a book that said like 3 hours is kind of the soft ceiling for learning new skills.
Which book was it? I'm curious.
The Talent Code?
The Talent Code?
Yes.
Okay, I'm writing this down. I'm always on the lookout for cool books. All right, I'm gonna write this down. Thank you. Okay, yeah, I agree. 3 to 4 hours is probably where I would draw the limit for maximal intent practice. And that doesn't mean that you have to stop there, but it just means that what you're playing for after that period of time shifts. It becomes more playing for fun and just playing to chill at that point.
Is that the video where you were like talking about like your coaches that like wanted you to go as hard as you could all the time?
Yep. That's
right.
exactly
it.
Then
yes,
exactly
I did see that.
Exactly it. And that's how you get injured in physical world, or that's how you get burned out, tired, or tilted in the Overwatch world. So for you, it's about those first 3 to 4 hours, as intense practice as you possibly can, with goals, with attention and intention with what you're trying to accomplish out of the session. And then after that, diminishing returns. Now, for you, the reason why this is important to ask is not only do you have a lot of ranked time to play, but you also have scrimmages. Now, be honest with me here. How important is your performance and training in scrimmages right now? Is it really important, or is it just more of like a casual team thing?
I mean, we're not a casual team for sure.
Right.
But I'm okay with performing at 80 to 90% of my best for some of the scrims, if that means that I get better quality practicing for my individual time.
Well, what I would say is that if the scrimmage is an intense environment, then put that as your number one priority. So what I might do is maybe do like a 30-minute warm-up, maybe play a ranked game or whatever. Go into your scrimmage, give it everything that you got, and then go for like an hour and a half afterwards in ranked, after like a short break. And there's your 4 hours, right? But then days when you don't, the 3 to 4 hours come strictly from ranked itself. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, you kind of already have an idea of like what you should be aiming for. You already know that you're probably playing a little bit too much. Well, I would say that it's, in terms of completing you as a person, is playing too much ranked a real problem? Yes. It's inactivity. It's not movement. It's not stimulating for your brain. It's probably hurting your sleep if you stay up too late playing and not getting enough sleep. But there's nothing inherently wrong for improvement for playing too much ranked. There's only something inherently wrong for playing too much ranked if you're not purposely segmenting between intense practice and just fun. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Like you, even if you still queue tank, maybe on an alt, or you off roll, or you do what, or even if you just queue in your main and you just like, I don't care if I lose like most of my games. That's fine. That's fine. Just as long as those first 3 to 4 hours are as intense as you possibly can, and then if you want to continue to play after that, that's fine. But don't get tilted at yourself. Don't try and don't even push yourself to do better, because you don't want to get in the habit of saying, "Oh, I can try this game." No, you can't. You're an idiot. You can't. Stop trying. You need to know I'm all the way in or all the way out. Most people never really make that distinction, and so they never really achieve like the level of mastery that they should be able to get. And for you, who's not just wanting to get to GM1, but who's wanting to get the GOAT status, that's going to be very, very important, because you could get to GM1 without applying this. Many people have. But that's not, just because people can doesn't mean that you should.
Right.
Okay. Hero pool here. All tanks, but I main Rein. Okay. What does that look like right now? Last few weeks, what does that look like?
So this season, I'm 18 hours on Ryan, 10 hours on Ball, 2 hours on Sig.
Okay.
In my team, I have always played whatever the meta is. And I the only tank that like I would say I probably should stay away from is Doomfist, but I also want to change that. Like, I don't want any gaps in that.
Sure. What are you playing with your team right now?
Ryan Ball.
Okay, so you're playing Ryan Ball with team. You're playing Ryan Ball in ranked. That's great. You're playing enough hours right now to where you could probably fit in a third hero if you wanted to train it seriously. But the way I say is like the amount of hours of deliberate practice is the amount of hours of the number of heroes that you can main, right? So for people should never really push more than 3 heroes that they want to seriously improve at. It doesn't matter how much that you're playing. This is even Overwatch League players follow that rule for the most part. You don't waste time training when you're trying to focus on a specific couple of heroes. However, have you heard me talk about dynamic hero pools before?
No.
Okay, that can shift on the meta. You're a Ryan Ball specialist. Okay, let's say in ranked, Ball becomes a throw pick, and you have to play Sigma. If you want to be a tank main, you might have to learn how to play Sigma, right? But that doesn't mean that you should be playing Ryan Sig, Ball, and so on. It should just be Ryan Sig, right?
No, yeah. For season 2, I didn't play so I was like a Ball one trick in Overwatch 1,
right?
Up until like the end, and then Ball was like garbage when Overwatch 2 came out. Well, I don't know if he was. I could not get value on Ball. So so season 2, I mostly played Ryan, Ram, and Orisa, because Orisa was Orisa. But so I think that covers what I was saying.
Then you're probably good to go. Don't be afraid to specialize a little bit. If you feel like you've got a really strong Reinhardt, lean into that. But obviously just shift it based off of the meta. Just don't make sure that what you're telling me was at 18 and 10 with Ryan and Ball.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it should be in every season. 18 and 10, right? You got your 2 main picks, and then everything else is basically nothing. And then just shift it based off of what you need to practice. Sound good? Yeah. That way, even if it's like Diva Zarya, right? You're gonna really get good hours on Diva Zarya, and you're gonna pick up that hero. Okay, let's keep going here. What do you hope to get out of the session? A better understanding of how to consistently perform. Please elaborate.
Okay, so I feel like the amount of time that I'm able to intentionally practice and or mechanically perform well are lower than most people. I feel like it's like I have like this timer, and it's like this lack of energy. I used to drink a lot of caffeine to like help that. But recently I've been trying to steer away from caffeine because I don't like, so like I have to be very focused for my job because I'm a software developer. Right. So then to do that in the morning and then Overwatch at night, like I can't physically like focus that many hours in a day on the level that I need to.
Right. Right.
So like but basically I just want to be able to play Overwatch at a very intense level for longer.
Right. Okay. Well, you tell me, how do you do that?
I don't know.
more discipline, right? That's definitely one. But that's usually where people stop. Oh, I just need to get better focus. I need to do a better job, right? Probably, a little bit of mental iron will definitely help. But how do you fill up the fuel tank? How do you
Yeah.
you know where there's because there's leaks, you know. Let me ask you a question: how consistent are you with sleep? You looks like 8.5. That's pretty good. How consistently are you hitting that number?
So start of the year, I started a thing with one of my friends where we like have an accountability sheet. So I've actually
Yeah.
I used to be like the worst person in the world about it, where
Yeah.
like one day I would sleep at 4 p.m. and the next I'd sleep at like 2 a.m.
Yep.
So now I'm on a pretty consistent.
Good. Good. Keep it up because that's a big one right there. Okay. Let me ask you another question: is playing way too long unranked, way past that 4 hour line, potentially draining you for the next day?
It could be
It could
for
be.
sure.
It could be, right? Something to consider, right? Try what about other hobbies that are less mentally intensive? Will that help you to train harder the next day, right? What about taking walks, reading books, doing other things, playing other chill games or whatever, right? Trying to think here, you know, diet. Like, well, how good is your diet fueling you and able to provide, you know, again, I'm not saying like you got to eat like Arnold Schwarzenegger out here, but like, could you improve the quality of food for the quality of energy that you're getting by a little bit? Probably, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Are there any habits that you could take during your deliberate practice? Are you taking breaks while you're in queue, like getting up and walking away, stretching, getting some water, getting touching some grass? You know what I'm saying? Would that help?
Yeah.
Would that help? Maybe it wouldn't help a lot, but it surely would help a little bit, right? I don't know. You see what I'm saying, though, right? There's some ways,
Right.
there's some strategies that you can use that go beyond just trying harder that will help you to kind of keep that intensity that you want. And I don't know what those are going to be for you. I don't, because like my first one is sleep, but it sounds like sleep is already for good for you. Okay, so then what other little options, what other little cleanup things can we do? Because you're right, it's hard to work and then go and try and work again, essentially, right?
Right.
That's hard to do. So you're going to need to. You're in a difficult situation, so you need to be extraordinary with how you approach it. I mean, when I was working towards Al, I was getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning, 2:30 in the morning to coach an Australian team because I was working during the day, working during the afternoon, and then I'd go to bed around 8 a.m. and I'd sleep till about 12, and it was rough, you know. So I had to find every
Right.
single way to like min max my rest and this and that, and so you're gonna need to do the same. It's not optimal, but you know that's you know you'll find a way or you won't, one or the other. That's what I would start. Make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'd also here's a question for you. When you say consistently perform, is that the quality of your play or is it the quality of your focus? Like, are you feel like you're playing bad, but you're still able to focus on the things that you're doing, or do you just feel like you just lose all focus entirely?
So I've implemented the drills, and I think the quality of play has gotten a lot better since then.
Okay.
So the quality of focus is definitely like I tend to autopilot a lot.
Okay, that is a problem then. That is a problem then. Okay, so if you feel like you're playing badly, it doesn't really matter that much. But if you feel like you're playing badly because you're not actually focused, that's the problem here. Okay, let's keep going here. Last question here. What do you feel is holding you back from improving? You say mentality and understanding. We might have talked about a few of these things already, but elaborate on anything that we have not talked about.
Okay, so mentality, the thing. So like, I really like to approach mentality from a very logical way. Like end of Overwatch 1, I kind of just like played the heroes I was worst at to like
Yeah,
really get rid of rank anxiety.
good for you.
The thing that the thing that I struggle with is there will be games where I am not looking at not necessarily what I'm not doing correctly. There will be games where what I'm doing incorrectly or correctly is clouded because so like right thing, wrong result, if that makes sense. And I feel like I don't have a deep enough understanding of the people around me, what they're doing, because like I only play tank. My other roles are plat. So like I don't have a deep enough understanding to know like, oh well the soldier was like in their spawn. I should have been with him there. That was the correct play. Or oh
Right.
the soldier was like back. Like I should have been in. It's just like I have to play that I have to throw again even though it's not really throwing, because like just to statistically play the correct play and your teammates will follow. I
Right.
don't think I have the understanding of other people's roles to do that, and I
Yeah.
think I can get tilted when I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I don't know what I could do better.
Yeah. I made a video on this, right? Where it's really hard to know. You have to have an idea of like what is objectively good and what is objectively bad, because it really sucks when you do the right thing but you get punished for it because the percentage just didn't roll your way that time, you know. And that's where you have to have like that knowledge about like what these guys want to do, what they should do, what they shouldn't do. Okay, so sounds good. We'll talk about that in the review then. Okay, anything else?
And then I guess the other thing is like I know that there's things that I don't understand about the game. I do really well with like different ways of conceptualizing how the game works. So like the more terms that I can like let my brain latch onto, the better. Like the more like different ways of describing how a mechanic or a concept works, the better I do.
Okay, okay. So like concepts, like simple concepts that you can latch onto.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna do that. I enjoy that very much. I'm a big system fan because I think systems are ways that you can kind of translate the game into simple way. You kind of see what I'm saying? Because the game is so complicated as it is that if you don't have like something easy and basic to fall back into to apply that, then you're gonna have a hard time. Freedom through simplicity. Okay. Do you have a code for me? Or
Yes, I do.
And do you have anything else that you want to go over before we get into the gameplay?
I don't think so.
All right.
Let me see here. Yeah, I think this one's a good one.
If anything comes up, just holler. And my DMs are open too, anytime after this review.
All right, cool. I just sent you the code.
Got it. Let's check this out. So Masters, and what hero is this going to be?
Reinhardt.
Reinhardt. All right. Love me some Reinhardt. Used to be a Reinhardt main back in the day. First hero, well, actually second hero besides Genji that I really applied myself to. Okay. Reinhardt mirror. Let me get this all set up here. Masters Reinhardt. And getting the overlay set up here. So I'll send you, by the way, I'll send you the recording of the session probably later by tonight once I finish stream.
Okay.
Because this is technically a stream review that is not streamed, so it's I realized that doing like 4 hours of coaching streaming in a row was like probably not the best thing for my viewership, so I do some of the streams offline. Okay, let's take a look here. So I'm not going to even ask you what Reinhardt's good at because you know what Reinhardt's good at. It's pretty obvious. What is going to be interesting to me is to see how you interpret Reinhardt's strengths, especially in a map like Shambali where there is so much space, so much high ground, so many angles, so many flanks. How do you creatively take space? How do you pull the Cloudy, right? How do you find new and creative ways to clear space besides just running it down mid? I think Reinhardt is one of the most chronically misunderstood heroes because so many people in just Overwatch 1 just ran it down mid, shielded their team, swung at the enemy at Ryan, won the Ryan trade. But
yes.
You're both
Okay. So when I was playing Overwatch 1, I would like not debate, but like I was very sure that the way Cloudy played was the correct way to play because it's the fun way to play, but like also it just seemed like it had more impact on the game as opposed to being Mr. Shieldman.
Sure.
And so like I was plat then though, so like anybody I said that to, they're like, okay, man, just like whatever you think. But like now that like it's become more clear, I think that that's the correct way to play. Like I've just been like enjoying it so much more.
Yeah, let me pull up Microsoft Paint really quick because I want to set the. Can you see the Microsoft Paint stream by the way?
Yes.
Okay, so the reason why it works is because I think whenever people see like Cloudy just running it in, just pinning backline, this is the only thing that they really focus on. But what they don't see is like the periphery of like what he's actually doing. And you tell me, what is Cloudy actually doing? What made his playstyle of Ryan more unique than just walking down main with shield? What was he actually doing?
I mean, he generates pick potential with his charge because that's a one shot.
Right.
He can zone out. He can isolate the supports from the tank.
Yep.
Like he He applies a lot of pressure.
Yeah, exactly. So he puts a lot of pressure, and he also does so in a way to where it looks like hyper aggressive the way he's going in, but it's actually not, as he's actually playing his life more than you think. The other thing that makes it really interesting is everyone talks about like the Gibraltar high ground Reinhardt, right? Him clearing high ground, pinning across. Well, he's very calculated with how he does his space clearing. Whenever Cloudy pins in, usually it's not just running it down mid. A lot of the times, especially in maps when there's a lot of high ground and flanks, we're talking about what are Reinhardt's limitations. He doesn't have Winston leap, right? So you actually have to walk your little footsies all the way up to high ground and then clear it out yourself. Because the nice thing about Reinhardt that makes him so unique is nobody can match him toe to toe head on, right? Outside of another Reinhardt. So if you go to high ground, yes, it takes time. Yes, it takes investment. But once you're there, nobody can take it away from you. You see what I'm saying? Right. And that's what made Cloudy so creative is everyone saw the aggression, but nobody saw where that aggression was placed. He was not just running it down mid. He would clear a flank. He would clear a high ground, right? And he would cause the DPS and supports in the enemy team, maybe the flanking Ana, right? Or the Genji, right? On the off angle, or even the Widowmaker in the backline, right? When he does this, he's not only clearing space and creating a pick potential, like you said, he's also forcing them to do what? What did these three people have to do?
They have to focus on him.
They have to focus on him. They have to focus on him. And not only that, but they have to do this, don't they? Right?
Yeah.
And then now, if I'm the Cloudy's backliners, where are the Widowmaker, Ana, and Genji? Are they on aggressive off angles anymore? No. They're not.
No.
The best positions that they wanted to take have now been removed. So your job as a Reinhardt is to quickly and efficiently put out as much pressure as you can. And oftentimes the most pressure that you can is not directly on the enemy tank. It's actually clearing out the most aggressive angles and positions that you possibly can. Now, Reinhardt doesn't have vertical mobility. So maps like Gibraltar still are not going to be great for Reinhardt. However, I think a lot of people miss opportunities where you could actually clear out positions. Basically, I look at it as like doing your homework. Sweep out the floor. Get rid of take out the trash, right? Before you actually just run it down mid. Does that make sense?
Right. No, that definitely makes sense.
So that is like the key concept. The key concept. So we talk about Shambali, right? Which is what we're about to look at. Let's shift the stream over to that now. You can already see as you're rolling out in spawn right here, right? Do you see positions from Reaper? Yes. Do you see positions from Cassidy? Yes. Now let me ask you a question. If you get the opportunity to set up on this Cassidy, will he be able to hold high ground? If you somehow teleported to this high ground, would he? No, he'd have to leave, right? So that position is gone. What if you were able to scout out this Reaper and clear out this Reaper, teleport this Reaper? Will he be able to stay here?
Nope.
No, he can't win the 1v1. He's gone. He's gone. So now one angle, two angles are gone. Now the only question is, can you do that? Is it reasonable for you to be able to clear out this Cassidy on high ground given where he's set up? Look at the room. Look at that.
Yeah, probably not yet.
Probably not. Maybe if you had like a Lucio speed, you could go out here and clear out. Maybe that'd be something to do, but maybe not reasonable, right? Okay. Let me ask you a question. Is it reasonable for you to throw fire strikes at the Cassidy? Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe it's helpful, right? Maybe, right? Is it reasonable for you? But what if this Reaper overextends a little bit? Could you maybe clear him out?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, right? So that's going to be your question, is constantly be aware of where enemy threats are, enemy angles, Ana, Reaper, Zen, Hanzo, whatever, and ask yourself, can I remove that position? Can I clear that space? Don't just clear the space on cart. That's generally the least threatening space that there is, but can I clear the angles myself? Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so are you guys using the same skin?
The best skin, of course.
Oh yeah, you are. Look at this. It's a huge matchup we got going on here. All right, let's see what we do. So now we're just pushing cart because these angles aren't a threat to us right now or to our team. But as soon as we can, I'm wondering. Now let me ask you a question. Why were you not getting healing here? Do you know?
Well, I wasn't looking at my team, so no.
Okay, yeah. Now, it's hard to look to your team, right? It's hard to be aware of this, but here's another way that you can help clear and create space. You cannot demand resources when they are clearing space for you. And I'm going to explain that concept in one screenshot right here. Watch this. Ready? Do you see?
Oh yeah, our cast could, if he had resources, he could go in.
Do you see? I mean,
our farmers, he could go in. Yeah.
Do you see even the Ana? Look at this. Do you see what they're doing? They're clearing the angle.
They forced that Reaper out.
They forced the Reaper out. You see that? I didn't know that was 100% happening, but I was pretty sure. And the gamble paid off. Yeah, exactly. So they were putting resources and clearing out the Reaper. They have to do that. Otherwise, Reaper will assassinate people, right? The problem here, though, is what's happening at the same time.
I am taking a lot of damage.
Taking a Rhine trade. Now, here's the challenge. You right now are very focused on not dying to this Reinhardt and by blocking damage, blocking the cast, and so on. So you can't turn around right now, right? No, impossible. However, listen. I know the audio here is not super loud on mine, but just listen. Probably heard a couple of shots over here. You might have heard Ana use a voice line. You might not have heard anything, but you also noticed that you weren't getting healed, right?
Right.
That's a little bit of a red flag, isn't it? Your Ana wants to heal you. If she's not healing you, there's something wrong. So back up, right? So your problem here is not the fact that you did what you did, but that you probably pushed it a little too close, a little too hard. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you see that you're not getting resources, assume that your team is clearing out space elsewhere, and then just play to survive. Because guess what? That Kiriko, that Cassidy, that Mercy, and the Reinhardt are all focused on you. So if you just survive, you've cleared out the angle, and they have failed to get the kill. So it's a great win for your team. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You almost need eyes in the back of your head, but you also need ears as well. This is insanity, but I respect it. You see the problem here? I don't know if you can help with this Cassidy, but this is kind of what we talked about, right?
Ooh.
You know? You are butchering the enemy Reinhardt right now, respectfully. You are butchering him. You're winning every shield trade, hitting every fire strike, and you've lost the fight.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now, again, is it reasonable for you to be able to help this? I don't know. I mean, you could have thrown a fire strike up here. I wonder if you can actually jump up here and hit him with your hammer. I probably could, but this is like not so much something that you're doing wrong, but this proves what we talked about earlier. So whenever you can, whenever it's absolutely at all possible, you need to help this, because I promise you, 9 times out of 10, you lose fights, not based off of the Rhine versus Rhine trade, but everything that's happening on the periphery. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So whenever you can help the periphery, your team will love you. That was a questionable fire strike. Nice. There it is. So you are winning the Rhine trade, and that will help you. It's just not always the most important thing. Okay. Oh, days. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Who's the most dangerous member of the enemy team right now?
Probably Cass, because he has the Mercy pocket.
Right. Well, not even the Mercy pocket. It's everything is positioning. Positioning. Reaper's positioning versus Cass's positioning, right? Do you see it?
Oh, I didn't even realize he had dropped. Yeah, I can go on him right now, and he has high noon.
Even if he hasn't dropped, he's still here. He's still the most dangerous person on the enemy team. He's the most aggressive angle. So let me ask you a question. What can you do about this right now? You can do one of two things, right? 1, you beat the crap out of Cass. 2, you play slow and allow your team to focus their resources on Cass. You see that?
So I do have a question about that.
Yes.
So I was watching a video you did on another Reinhardt, and you were talking about prioritizing between killable and threat level. So to me, like, he's not really killable when he's up top. I don't know if I could have, like, it would have been realistic for me to track him, like, moving down there.
No.
But, like, do I still need to focus on him if he's not killable?
Well, yes, because you still need to know, like, when he's a threat. Because remember, the way that you're focusing on him may be that you don't pin into the enemy backline and die while we're clearing out Cassidy. The way you focus on
Okay.
him is be aware that he's there and try and play resource light until the rest of your backline can deal with him. It's the same way when you play Reinhardt versus Dive. When the Winston jumps your backline, you might not be able to help with that, but you can zone off the follow-up and make sure that you don't die in isolation. Do you see that? Like he bubbles off your backline's peeling Winston. Don't die. Hold the line, right? And that's kind of what we're thinking here. You could pin in here and hit the Reaper, and that would feel great. But right now, I'm wondering if there's going to be follow-up to the Shatter. Why?
Because they're going to be clearing out the cast.
Right, and there it is, right? So is this Shattered bad? Of course not. You hit a squishy, win the fight. I mean, you're also up one, so everything doesn't really matter right now. But just keep in mind. So I don't think anything you've done specifically is a mistake, so much as we're framing the rest of the VOD so that we know mistakes when we see them, right?
Right.
And we can also find out why, even though you put 2 people on their back in front of your entire team, only one of them died, right? And that was the one that you directly hit. We know why that's the case. And even here, right? Why are you not getting healed?
I mean, I'm out of line of sight, I think.
Right, you're out of line of sight, but also your cast just recently finished the kill on the Cassidy. I mean, heck, your Pharah even was still in the act of sending a rocket at his corpse, right? Again, your team is still dealing with the repercussions of what happened back here. We're not equipped to push with you right now. And this is where the eyes in the back of your head matter so much. And this is not a ranked thing. This is something that you need to develop, period. Even in scrims, this matters. Okay. Unfortunate. Now this is it perfectly right in front of our screen. Most coaches would have said what? What's the mistake here?
Probably not blocking the shatter.
Right. And was that a mistake? Clearly, right? But what's actually even more important than not blocking the shatter here?
I went on the Reaper when the Ryan can just have his way with my team.
You know what's going on in your backline right now. You know where that Kiriko is. You know where that Reinhardt is. What's your job right now?
Damage control?
Damage control. Where's Reaper? Where's Cassidy? Control them and survive. But do you do that?
No.
No, you don't. You pin in, you mess up the pin, you take too much damage. Even the fire strike here is a mistake. You see that? And then you turn your back to be like, oh, I'm going to help my team, ironically guaranteeing your death. Because you know what your team does? Your team does okay. Your team is like, okay, we lose our Ana, we Valk, we nano Pharah, we're going to get the res off, and this fight is very winnable if you were alive. Do you see that?
Yeah, it still messes me up with Reaper's new spread, because I feel like he wouldn't have been able to kill me there with his old spread.
Right. But do you see the issue here? This is the exact, when we opened the VOD, this is what we were talking about. Your job here is to control space, to control angles, to control threats. You were thinking, oh, there's something in my backline, I have to go help them. No, you don't. You need to control these guys. This is the threat, right? Control them, survive, and then as soon as you get this res off, we're good to go. But you died. Right. Again, it's the eyes in the back of your head. You need to know what's going on. You could peel off the Ryan, you could peel off the Kiriko, but you'd probably die in the process, and or you'd let the Cassidy and Reaper do whatever they want to do. This is why it's not all about the Reinhardt duel. You see that right there, right? It's not always about the Reinhardt duel. Sometimes you're more equipped to deal with things that are not the Reinhardt. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay. And if you play Reinhardt versus other compositions besides the Ryan duel, it's even more important. And again, here, like, you can see how, like, stuff is just happening here. Well, actually, I don't know. Never mind. This, honestly, you're far just fed, so let's keep going. Now, let me ask you a question. What do you need to worry about right now? Where are the aggressive DPS positions?
The Reaper.
Right. There's not really much to worry about, right? It's pretty simple. But that does imply, that does shift who you swing on, don't you? A dumb Reinhardt swings on Ryan. A smart Reinhardt swings on Reaper. Because what happens when you swing on Reaper?
I force him out.
You force him out, and then who wins the Ryan trade now?
Me.
You.
The reason that I didn't want to like go in too deep there because I didn't want to like if I get behind Reinhardt, you can just like pin me into his backline.
That's true. That's true. So there's some nuance here. And now Reaper's backed off a little bit, so that's as good of a Wraith almost. Good. Yeah. Yeah, nicely done. I like how you're trying to complement what your Pharah is doing and what your Cassidy is doing. Very good. You're on Widow now? Sure. A little bit unfortunate we canceled the pin, but yeah, hey, I love to see it. Nice. Nicely done. You're trolling. We went from carrying the fight to trolling. Why is this a feed?
My Ana's not with me.
Right, you know where the card is. You know where the card is. Right? And come on. Hold the line. Where are you guys gonna take this fight? Be honest with me. Where are you gonna take this fight?
Probably the corner right behind where our Cass and Pharah are.
Right about here, right? So then you can push up here a little bit, but you're just doing it for a little bit of greed, and then you're getting out of dodge. You're gonna die here. Or your Mercy's going to die trying to save your life. I mean, this is just too aggressive, right? Like, this is just too aggressive from you and from your team. Like, right now, your Mercy should be pocketing your Pharah and Cassidy, but she's not because she's pocketing you, and she's pocketing you because you pushed up too far to hold control space that you can't possibly control because it's not a 5v5. It's not even a 4v5. It's a 3v5. And that's the problem here. It's just that simple. So, I'm noticing a little bit of a pattern with you where you are really good at these Ryan trades. You got the charge game all down. You got the fire. You're hitting every fire strike, every swing. You're winning the shatter trades. You're blocking shatters. This is phenomenal. But you don't understand everything besides you and the enemy main tank. With how you position around your team, with how you deal with the angles, with the timing of your pressure, with how you preserve your own life when you've got a Reinhardt in your backline. Those little things are not looking so good. And the problem is that it's too easy to focus on that. You know, it's too easy to just focus on that and only that, and that's going to get you killed. Okay. Do you have any questions so far?
No, I think everything's clear.
Okay. Like, even that fire strike, like, you're like, well, what does that actually do? Actually, it does a lot. Watch this Widow's POV. Right? She's going to kill your guys in rotation. You see that?
Yep.
Now she's not peeking. Now your team can rotate safely. You see that? I'm telling you, this stuff adds up. That is the best miss of a fire strike that you could possibly ask for. And even here, would you fire strike the Ryan or would you try and fire strike Widow? Well, maybe now it's too easy to dodge. Maybe you just fire strike Ryan for the ult charge. But you see, even that question is not so simple.
Right.
Survive. Because survive, right? Because you know what's going on over here, right? So you could either hold the line here and just distract these guys and play your life, or you could even go back, if you think you can do it safely, pin back to spawn and deal with these guys. Let's see what you do. You're gonna play slow? I don't know why your Mercy is yellow beaming you. This is why having a sense, this is the cloudy, right? Know what's going on around you. Know where their supports are. Know where, like, this is where, like, this is hard. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. This is absurd. This is ridiculous. I don't know what's going on, but this is Overwatch 2, right? Like, you gotta, this is why they reduced your charge cooldown to lower, so you could deal with this more. You can move faster through the battlefield. You kind of see what I'm saying? So, like, this is foolishness, and I don't blame you for, like, not being aware that this has happened, but don't go and swing on Reinhardt here. Play slow, right? We know it. We're still dealing with the repercussions of what just happened here, so don't take damage. Also, where's that Widowmaker?
She's back at the door, or like the place where I was. Oh no, she's up there.
You see what I'm saying? You didn't know. You weren't sure. She even popped infocytes. Be a little bit, because what can you do about this? Can you shield off your
I
team?
can throw a fire strike.
But you could throw a fire strike. Right, throw a fire strike. If you hit it, she has to back off, or she risks dying. She backs off, you've controlled the angle with your fire strikes. That's another reason why 2 fire strikes matter so much. That's really the value of 2 fire strikes. It gives you more range to control space, but besides what's directly in front of you. So utilize that, right? Utilize that. Even if even at the expense of a little bit of ult charge. Utilize it. Now I know what you're thinking right now. It's all shatter trade. And shatter trade is really important. But that seems to be the consistent theme here. Nice. Yes. I know what you're about to do and I love it. You missed it, but I love it. You know? That was exactly what you did. Imagine if you hit this fire strike. This would have said. Yep.
Yeah.
And this is the problem with Reinhardt in Overwatch 2. Right? You win the ride trade, and now what? Where are they? They're on the flank, they're on the angle, they're on the high ground, right? That's why you got to be so creative with your positioning and so disciplined with how you use your charge. Yes, 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 yes. Yes! Keep walking. Oh, you're going to go cheeky mode, aren't you? I like it. I don't think they're going to touch, though, so I don't think this is going to matter. Oh, you're still going to go for it.
Yeah, they usually push the other way.
Now, here's the funny thing about charge. Let's consider this. So you hit the pin. Brilliant. All right, we love it. Who do you think that Cassidy's thinking about right now?
Me.
And the Widow? Even? I mean, the Widow maybe not so much, but...
Okay, so my idea here is that I have Shatter if the Rein and Carry push me, and I can stabilize on that little corner that I pinned into.
Yeah. Does your team have some LOS? Does your team have some LOS as well?
Not really, but I can get to a place where they do.
I'm a fan. I like it. That was good. That was a cloudy pin. It wasn't just for the kill, though. It was also to dive, essentially, right? Just like a Winston would jump in and then play cover and try and stabilize until he gets his jump out again. It's the same thing. It's a flat map. It's the same thing, except your bubble isn't on a cooldown. Right? You're up top. That was good. See, even this here to me is maybe I'm being nitpicky here, but this is not a good mental decision. I don't know why I clarified that mental decision as opposed to a physical decision, but yeah, this is, for example, don't stop the pin, right? This is the guy you're worried about. Screw the Rein. He doesn't have shatter, right? Pin through to the corner and solo shatter this guy, or just hit him with your hammer, right?
Right.
Stop focusing on the Rein trade here. You're like, oh, I gotta ego this guy. No, this is how you lose the fight. This aggressive angle position, which you can reach with your pin. This is an actual position that you can actually reach, and yet you gave it up, right? That's the problem. And the funny thing is here is you this cast still could kill somebody. See? I told you. I'm telling you, this is how you lose unlosable fights. It's like stuff like that. And you could have easily controlled this guy. Now, you're like, well, could Rein not have pinned into my backline? Well, yes, but which one is more of a risk to you? Which is more of a threat to you when he doesn't have shatter, right? Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like, which one has the more dominant position, right? Clearly the cast, right? The cast is the better angle. Go ahead.
So, like, my thinking was we're like very close, like 5 meters, and the Rein and Kiri can stall for a lot longer than the cast can. So if I get the Kiri in the shatter, then it's like a lot better. Is that not the case?
No, wait, of course it's the case, but that also implies that the Reinhardt has to make a mistake, which he did. Why would you not just go for the guaranteed kill, you guarantee that Cassie is not a threat, and probably also guarantee that he dies. You know what I'm saying? Right. There's nuance here. Now, let me ask a question. If Cass is back here, and then Rein's holding this corner here, who's your priority?
Rein.
Cass isn't a threat, right? But when they're both approximately the same aggression level, prioritize the squishy who you can hit with a hammer and kill instantly, versus the Reinhardt who will take forever and ever and ever and ever. I mean, I think about it. Like, if you were Reinhardt and you could swing on the Reinhardt, or could swing on the Zen, who would you pick, right? And sometimes you're going to get to pick. And if you pick Rein, you're going to lose fights. The only reason that you swing on Rein is because generally he's the only person to swing on. Remember the Reaper question earlier? Like, why would you swing on Reaper over Reinhardt? Well, because if you swing on Reaper, it hurts him more than swinging on Reinhardt. And therefore, you can win the trade through that. Like, for example, if you go on the Cassidy there, and you shatter the Cassidy, let's say the Kiriko TP's back and Suzu's the Cassidy, and then you end up in a 2v1. That Reinhardt has no help. And that Reinhardt will take more damage through you threatening his backline than it would if you were threatening him directly. Do you see that?
I'd probably still win that 2v1 anyway.
And you probably still would win the 2v1, as long as you can close the distance. Okay. This is advanced stuff, you know? Like, I know there's a lot of stuff going on through here, but this is like, if you want to be the GOAT, you got to understand this stuff.
Right.
Kind of a goofy strat, but I mean, I'm fine with it, you know? As long as you don't get flanked, we're good to go. I like how we're juggling our HP and our shield HP as well. That's unfortunate that Fire Strike doesn't hit. Good. We're on Widow now. I would probably swing a little bit. I was noticing this previously with the previous shift. I would probably swing in his shift a little bit more because obviously it's free damage and he's not shooting while he's shifting, so you take a little bit less damage, so you might as well be swinging at that window of time. Unless you're like low, might as well. Nice Fire Strike. Even if it doesn't hit, right, it forces him to move, puts him in a worse spot where he could die to somebody else more easily, and it messes up his aim. Don't overextend. Uh-oh. Nice. You guys should be okay, though. Almost. Yep. That'll do it. Good. Walk on that Widow. She's out. So now ignore her and go back to the Sigma. You see that? Just your threat alone of your hammer. Look at the Widow's positioning. It's horrible, right? Useless. So you don't even need to actually hit her with your hammer to threaten her. And so then now you go back to the Sigma because look at the Sigma's aggression in relation to his team, right?
Right.
So go beat the crap out of him. And that's exactly what you do. A lot of the stuff that you do, you do without even thinking it. You don't need me to tell you to, but sometimes you don't. And when you don't, that means that we need to kind of analyze it a little bit more. Nice. Brilliant. Oh, I was so nervous. I thought for certain. Nice. Great hold so far. Bastion's gonna make things a little bit harder.
Yeah. I actually had never like thought about doing this strat before, and I was just like, well, I mean, why not?
Yeah, I mean, hey, this is how you learn, right? That's what we want to do. Leverage your strengths. I mean, that Bastion's actually messed up. He's turreted way too early. You could actually even let them push card for a second here. I wouldn't even blow shield here. I would honestly just like let the Bastion blow it and whatever, and let cart move a little bit. He used turret way too early. Yeah. Yep, go top. And sometimes even like let's think about it this way, like if you had known that your Cassidy was here, you could have shielded him. So even if you're not like swinging on controlling the enemy angles with your hammer, you can also help your teammates with your shield as well. So if you're like, we talk about shielding your teammates, right? People are like, oh, we don't. The Reinhardt shields for himself, not for his teammates. Yes, of course. However, if you were going to shield anybody here, who would you shield?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
You didn't know he was there. You didn't know he was there.
Right. And as much as I am when people ask, like, say I need to shield them, I'm like, nope. Yeah. But like, I do try to make a concerted effort with High Noon. I can't think of any other ult off the top of my head that I do it for, but
sure. Well, it has less to do with the High Noon, more to do with his positioning, right? It would enable your teammates to take aggressive angles like this, because again, that's another thing you're really good at. You could sit here with shield, and what would they do about it? You know,
nothing.
Even if he didn't have High Noon here, there's just unstoppable damage on an aggressive angle, and that's something that you can control enemies who take those positions, but you can also enable your teammates to at the same time. Right. Now, I'm not blaming you here because you obviously had no idea, but in a theoretical world, that's what would work, and that's why it would work. Okay. All things considered, this is fine. I'd be very cautious about this because use your peripheral awareness. Where's your team?
The cast is dead. The junk's probably still behind them.
Yeah.
Because he just tired.
Yep. I don't think your team is here. I think your team is probably still lagging behind. And yep, there it is. 1, 2, and then obviously the cast. So don't just chill, right? Just chill. Oh, that's Suzu. That's all your shield. And now we need you at full resource. Suzu plus Pen plus, you know, your team, and you don't have those resources right now. So major problem. Respectfully, you kind of threw that fight, not gonna lie.
No, yeah.
Yeah. Woohoo! Nice. That damage reduction is so annoying from the Bastion form. Okay. The Bastion form, I say. The turret form. Okay. Any questions? Are we good still?
I think we're good.
Okay. We'll watch a few more fights. Good job waiting on his turret form. Again, he messed up, so you guys should just straight up win this fight now. There it is. Now we shatter. 3, 2, 1. There you go. Nicely done. That was good. Nothing complicated there, right? If you look at it from like the map control perspective that we were all like obsessing over, right? What enemy positions did you need to control?
Just main.
There's nothing there, right? And now the nice thing about Reinhardt is you're about as good of a hero as there is when it comes to controlling main. So guess what? When they all line up like this, with or without shatter, fight's lost for them. It's over. No angles, no flanks, no high grounds, no nothing. Just running it on mid. GG's. That and along the fact that their Bastion messed up and your Bastion didn't. So yeah, nicely done. And sometimes it really is just going to be that simple, right? Like, you can probably predict that there's probably not going to be a lot of flanks taken by their comp, right? Probably not a lot of aggressive positions taken. So for you, it's just going to be about winning that frontline trade. It's going to be about all the obsessive shield, block the javelin, you know, win the Bastion trade, hit the fire strikes. It's just going to be the basic fundamental stuff, right? Overwatch 1 stuff even. There's turret form, disengage.
And I should be expecting my team to be able to play cover when Bastion's in turret form, right? Like, I don't need to burn my shield on that.
Give them at 1 second grace period, if depending on like just kind of be aware. Like if you see like, for example, your Bastion right there, maybe just flash shield a little bit just to give him time to react. And then if he still chooses to peek, I probably would just not let him die, but like he needs
teach him a lesson.
Yeah, he need to teach him a lesson, right? Like you don't. I mean, it depends on the circumstance. If you think they're going to die if I don't shield them, please shield them. But also, if you're looking at this here and you're like, I probably want some shield for myself, then yeah, just use your judgment. Just use your judgment. I think what you're doing here is fine. These fire strikes need to hit though. These fire they're hit. That one hit the junk, so that's good. But these fire strikes really need to hit. I also think this is one of the ults which I would like you to shield. Oh wait, it doesn't block. Never mind.
No, it doesn't block.
Dang it, man. I completely forgot. Maybe if you just shield a little harder, it will work.
True.
You just really press that right click. This one was fine. This was just, maybe you need to hit a few more fire strikes. Nothing really complicated there.
No, I am thinking though that Orisa ult, if I do shield it, it allows, like, even though the Terra Surge damage will hit them, like, I kind of am like out of there, and my supports are still like right in front of the Orisa when she gets out of it, and she can just shoot them. So I might have wanted to like stick around because I'm not going to take as much damage from it.
That's true. It's also the follow up here. So like, look at like what actually kills them. Like if we turn around here. You're blocking BAP damage too, right? You're blocking Junkrat damage follow-up too. So you might not necessarily need to take one for the team, but you would prevent, like you said, the Orisa follow-up, but also everybody else pushing with the Orisa ult, you can block that damage, you see?
Right.
little bit of a micro thing though, not a huge deal. Okay, unfortunate. Now, the map has opened up a little bit, right? We're not talking about Circuit Royale one lane only anymore. So we're probably gonna need, even versus Junkrat Bastion, we're gonna want to keep our eyes open for aggressive angles to control, right? Aggressive angles to enable. So let's see if any of those rear their ugly head. Like for example, if their Junkrat or Bastion swung across here, could you pin across to here and clear him out? Maybe, maybe not. Would it be a good play? Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, they got that Orisa, so it's just like scary.
Yeah, it's scary, but she's also not particularly good at killing you, is she? If you could play your shield right.
No.
Get it. Ah, unfortunate. Wait a second, I just realized something. Did Firestrike not one-shot Riptire prior to its buff?
Not for a while, yeah.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, it was rough being a Ryan main for the first 2 seasons.
Oh, yes. This is a classic, this is a good example of unnecessary shield though, right here. So we've gone from being very dynamic with our coaching to now we're just focusing on like really basic, just trade cooldown stuff, right? So for example, right here, don't peek, don't shield. Don't peek, don't shield. You know, like even that peek right there, you should die for that. You should be dead. Just sit. Be disciplined. Because now you really need shield, and you don't have it. You see that? Good pen. Nicely done. Nice. Unfortunate. Okay, so what are you seeing here with your Reinhardt between the raw brawl, one-dimensional, everybody lining up in a straight line trades that we've had from the last little bit, and then on the attack, the more dynamic, clearing space, controlling angles? What do you need to practice? What do you need to drill?
Passing to someone who I can kill and someone who is a threat.
Control space, who is a threat, aggro position, whenever possible, right? It's not always possible. That's the limitation of Reinhardt, but whenever you can, yes, okay? What else? Remember the very first fight, you almost died to the Reinhardt in the trade, even though you're clearly the better mechanical Reinhardt. Why? What was happening on the side?
My supports were busy forcing out the Reaper.
Yes, so awareness of when your team is clearing space is crucial. Absolutely crucial. So, because if you can't control it directly yourself, you need to know when they're under pressure or controlling the space themselves so that you don't demand a lot of resources. So how do you improve that skill? You understand what I'm talking about, but how do you get better at that?
Look at my teammates more.
Sure. Whenever possible, be aware of enemy and teammates' positions. And when can you check that?
When can I check that? Anytime I'm not swinging, really.
Sure. Or right before a fight starts, right? Because you could see that the clearing of the Reapers started before you even started swinging on the Rhine. You just weren't aware of it. So when you're in the middle of doing something, it's hard to stop. But okay. And then like let's focus on some micro stuff. So we said some big macro stuff. What are some micro or little details with your Reinhardt, with your cooldowns, with your positioning that can be improved upon?
A little bit better shield usage in certain places.
Okay. And what needs to be improved with the shield usage?
I mean, not using it in front of a window bastion for sure.
Sure. Smarter use of cover when cover. Don't waste, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Stupid thing, but you know what? Even the best Reinhardts have to go back and revisit fundamentals like that, right? Can always improve. Anything else overall?
Not that I remember. Not that I can remember.
Yeah, I agree. I think those are the big three. Okay, so what you need to do is practice one of those things at a time. Focus on it with full intensity, as much full intensity as you possibly can. And then when you get bored with it, / you make a little bit of progress with it, move on to the next skill set. We want to upgrade your autopilot by tunnel visioning on these one at a time. It's okay if you play a little bit worse in other aspects, but these things are priorities for us. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes.
Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay, keep me updated if you do. Replay code rule for students is you can send me a replay code of Ball, Reinhardt, whatever you want to, whenever you'd like. It could be tomorrow.